Hey, congrats on that recent sale. Now, if you want to start off your Depop shop on the right foot and get the most bang for your buck on shipping, you've come to the right place.
When it comes to shipping, you really only need to know 3 things. 1, what equipment you'll be using. 2, the weight and size of your package. And 3, where to buy and how to print your shipping label. And don't worry about figuring out shipping costs. I've actually gone ahead and done the work for you by compiling a document on the best shipping costs and service to choose for your reference, which I'll go over in more detail later in the video.
As always, there are many ways to do shipping, but the goal of this video is to give you a simplified and a more affordable option to work with. Now, you may be thinking, isn't the easiest option just to use Depop shipping? True, it is the easiest, but it is not the most affordable option. Your shipping rates will be higher than if you can get it elsewhere, and honestly, if you've ever shopped on the internet before, you know that while you're shopping, you're about ready to check out and you look at that shipping cost and you just like, I cannot add another $8 to my total costs. And then you leave. You don't buy any of the even 3 or 5 items that you ordered. For a buyer, you miss out on something that you wanted, and as a seller, you missed out on a really good sale. So it is a win-win for the buyer and for the seller if you take just 10 minutes out of your day to learn about the easiest and cheapest option to ship on Depop. I know you're excited to get shipping as soon as possible, so let's get started.
First off, let's start with equipment. You'll need a weight scale. It can be a kitchen scale or a shipping scale, anything to weigh your packages. And then what I like to do is add a box on top of the scale because it helps contain all of my items into the box and make sure that the whole item gets weighed and that the item is not spilling out and giving a inaccurate reading. A measuring tape for measuring packages and items. A simple poly mailer that you can get from Amazon. The internet also has some compostable poly mailers available. Some shipping label sheets to print on your printer, but don't worry, these are optional. You can also print on regular printer sheets and just tape the label onto your package manually instead of using a shipping label sticker. What I like to use in addition to the poly mailers are the USPS priority mail flat rate envelopes, specifically the padded ones. They look a little bit small, but they're super stretchy and durable that they can fit a lot. So I like to use that for my bulkier items like jackets, or even if I'm just bundling a couple of items where it's not just the jacket, but maybe also some pants or jeans, it can usually fit at least 2 or 3 things. So all you'll need are those 4 main things. And just to be clear, do not get the regular flat rate envelope. The one that's not padded is just cardboard and can really rip easily. They're not very good for carrying anything really, and it can't stretch. So this is the one that you don't want. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, where you can get the USPS packaging is on their website. It's for free, and let me show you how to do it. What you're going to want to do is go on the USPS.com website, go over to shop, click on shipping supplies. Now, because there are a lot of shipping supplies, let's filter it out. Please look on the left-hand side. Under product type, click on priority mail. As you can see, it says here, free flat rate supplies. Flat rate just meaning that the price doesn't really change. Whatever you can fit into the packaging under maybe 70 pounds is still the same price. So we're gonna want to scroll down. I've actually used these medium boxes and maybe large priority mail flat rate boxes before too, but we're gonna scroll down and look specifically for the padded flat rate envelope results per page. Maybe I'll click on page 2. Scroll, scroll, scroll. Here it is. Priority mail flat rate padded envelope. Remember to get this red one. Don't get the blue striped one. That's a different service and different pricing. On the order page, you have the chance to get a pack of 10, and then you get to choose the quantity of how many packs you would like. Let's say you want 2, and your total price will always be 0. Then next you're going to add to cart, and then check out now. Continue as guest, and then put in your information, and then click checkout, and you're good to go. The packages will typically arrive between maybe 1 to 2 weeks. And now that we've got our equipment and packaging, let's move on to shipping labels. After making a sale, I usually go onto my Depop profile page, and then on the top right corner, I click on sell. Then I go into sold, and then next I go to the transaction that I'm looking for. I click on the tiny icon that says copy address under the payment total. Then I go into pirateship.com where I'm already logged in. I go to ship single to create a single label, and then next to the ship to sign, I click paste address, And then I scroll down, check if the information populated correctly in the input sections, name, address, city, state, zip code, everything looks good. I scroll down to ship from, see if it's the right address, default address I'm shipping from. Then I continue scrolling down. Then for type of packaging, I will usually decide between the envelope, padded envelope poly bag option, but this is not like the regular USPS padded envelope. If you want the USPS padded envelope pricing, you're gonna wanna scroll on down to right here, USPS priority mail padded flat rate envelope. That way you can get the correct price for that thing. If you try to buy a like regular poly mailer label and stick it on your USPS padded flat rate envelope, that will not work. The post office will be like, you've got the wrong label. Because what you're doing is buying this specific USPS Priority Mail flat rate envelope service. It's their product, so that product has a specific price. For anything other than PS Priority Mail, you just want to use, for like first class mail or cubic, you just want to use this regular poly mailer. I wanted to really clarify that. And then for big items, I'm going to use box or rigid packaging. Package dimensions, 12-inch by 15-inch package, weight 0.15. After you've done this for a while, you can just like look at an item and figure out how much it weighs just from weighing so many different items over and over. Then I click get rates. And from there, I see if all the information looks correct with the shipment details and whatnot. Then under choose a service, I click on it. You can sort by best, cheapest, UPS or UPS. Let's go for cheapest, and in this case first class package pops up. The other way is if you click on this and then it has a drop down menu of all the different services that you can choose from with their various prices. But we're going to go with first class package. It's cheap and it gets the job done. So first class package, estimated delivery in 1 to 4 days. From there, I buy the label. I'm not going to do that right now because obviously this is just a demo example, but on the next page you would be able to print out your label, and once you print it out, you then tape that shipping label onto your package and drop it off at the post office. Once you finish dropping it off at the post office, what you're going to want to do is go back to the maybe front page of Pirate Ship or even this current page if you're already on it, and just click the copy to clipboard. This copies the tracking number that you can then input on Depop. Let's say on Pirate Ship's your user homepage, you just click on that here. Click copy to clipboard, then go into sold, go back to your Depop sold page, click on the transaction, and then scroll down and click, add tracking number, and you're good to go. That updates the buyer that you've sold your package. I also wanted to add that you should print out the packing slip or the receipt, which you will usually find as an email from Depop notifying you of the sale. And how I do that is usually just taking a partial screenshot of the part of the email that I want to print out, and then just print out that screenshot. And from there, I usually like to add a handwritten note into my packages as well. It's a really nice touch where I let my buyers know that I really appreciate them shopping at my Depop shop. So in total, what your shipping process should look like is that you have your poly mailer, you stick the item into the poly mailer bag, adding in the packing slip and maybe a cute little note for your buyer. Then you close up the bag and then add the shipping label and then just drop it off at the post office.
Drop off your package either at USPS, the postal office, or UPS, the other shipping company in America. And there's two ways you can do it. You can either drop it off at the counter worker where they can scan it in and then give you a receipt saying that they received your package, or you can drop it off at the package drop-off section. In that section, you're kind of just being with a pile of a bunch of other packages where the store will then scan it all together later. My general rule of thumb is that if my item is expensive, I'm gonna go to the counter and get it scanned in and get that receipt so that it's automatically in the system that I dropped off the package. The reason why is this is actually more common than you think. When I drop off my package at the drop-off section, sometimes when they're scanning everything so quickly, my item gets missed and it doesn't actually get scanned. Maybe they tried to get the barcode and it didn't work and they just moved on to the next package, and it sucks because then my item doesn't really pop up in the system as being tracked, and then so the buyer will click on the tracking number and be like, hey, did you even ship out my item yet? And so I get those messages once in a while, but you really don't need to worry about it because what tends to happen is your package will still get to its destination. It may be scanned in later later at a later check-in point, or it may even just be scanned in at when it's delivered to the house. In the rare case that it doesn't even get scanned in to the house, most of the time the buyers are pretty honest, so they don't try to like ask for a refund or something when they actually received the item. How I generally deal with those types of situations is I just message the buyer and I say, hey, I'm so sorry that like your package hasn't been updated yet. I dropped it off. In some cases, they don't scan it right away or gets missed being scanned. So I recommend if you just wait, depending on the shipping service that I bought for them, you know, what's the delivery time. And I tell them if it does not still get packaged within the delivery time frame, then I will open a case with UPS or USPS about where the heck your package is. You know, and that usually works well for the buyer. I really haven't had any issues with that once I just communicate the situation and just wanting to make sure to show them that I'm going to do something about it if their order does not get fulfilled, and it usually works out.
And that concludes the walkthrough portion of the video, and now I'll be going over frequently asked questions from previous year's videos.
Now you may be wondering, well Brenda, that's fine and dandy, but how do I know how much shipping costs before I make the sale when I'm barely creating my Depop listing? Good question. What I usually do once a year is to go into Pirate Ship and play around with package sizes as well as weight sizes. Packaging usually stays roughly the same. I mostly test the poly mailer and the priority mail padded flat rate envelope. That's a really long title. And then maybe occasionally some of the other priority mail boxes. And then for the rest of it, just play around with weights, usually between the ranges that I showed you in the previous chart, so I know how much the prices are. And I usually make it for these kinds of videos so that you guys don't have to.
So 3 things I want you to keep in mind when taking a look at this chart is that I've simplified a lot of the process, and that the size of the package that we are using for reference here is a 12-inch by 15-inch poly mailer. We are separating it by weight ranges, that the prices change usually depending on those weight ranges that you see on the left. And then lastly, I used the location from California to New York to try to get the largest range I could in the US, so that the shipping price that you see is what is the most you would pay for this type of size packaging, for these types of weights, and for a location where they're far away from each other, California and New York, just for reference. And these are the kinds of shipping prices that you would input in your Depop listing under My Own Shipping. What you'll find is that for most cases, pirateship.com is the way to go. You're going to want to choose the first class packages, you know, for under 4 ounce, for under 8 ounce, for under 12 ounce, for under 15.9 ounces. And just for reference, 16 ounces equals 1 pound. But for some reason, once you put 16 ounces or like exactly 1 pound, it gives you a different price. So I just put 15.9 ounces to stay in that price range for that weight group. For clothes that weigh 1 to 2 pounds, I recommend using the USPS Priority Mail Padded Flat Rate Envelope, which you can see is highlighted as $8.45. While for items that are either more bulky or just can't fit in the padded flat rate envelope, then I recommend you look at USPS Parcel Select Ground Service, which is available from 1.1 pounds to 3 pounds. And then for anything thereafter, I recommend you use the USPS Priority Mail Cubic that goes from 3.1 pounds to 20 pounds. So this chart should cover all the different types of weights and some various package shapes for the case of shipping clothes and maybe shoes. Please feel free to screenshot this chart for your reference, and I'll probably have a link to it in the description box down below. And for this page, you can ignore if you'd like. It's mostly just answering questions about what's the difference between the offered postal services. For those interested, please pause to take a look, and also feel free to screenshot the page.
And the other question I get is, well, it looks like shipping prices change depending on location. How do I know what shipping price to input when I'm first creating my Depop listing? And when the person buys it, their shipping may have come out cheaper than what I put because they live closer to me. And so any like slight difference in like shipping costs, you'll make maybe like 25 cents, maybe at most $1. And for that, you could just keep as profit yourself. Now, a question that I get is, if shipping rates change every year, do I go back and retroactively change the shipping prices for all of my old listings? And I say that if you have a small amount of items and you have the time, I say yes, go for it. But if you're like me and I have like 250 items or so in my store, that's way too much. So I just leave it as is and I only adjust the shipping for any new items that I list for that year. But then you may be wondering, well, doesn't that mean you're losing some money when people buy it and the shipping is higher than what you listed it? I do usually lose like maybe $1 sometimes, depending on how much shipping rates have increased. But it hasn't really hurt my bottom line because whenever I price my items, I always have like a margin slightly priced above the price that I actually want. It's pretty much a pricing that also takes into account that some people like to bargain. Things like I want to offer discounts later in the year. Some people are going to bargain. I want to give people discounts when they buy multiple items, and so it kind of like leaves room for that. And then also for any changes in shipping prices is kind of included in that. And that's it. I hope that today's video was helpful. Congrats again on that recent sale. I included a lot of information in this video. It may seem overwhelming at first, but trust me, it gets easier over time. If you found this helpful, then please give this video a like. And if you want to see more videos from me, please subscribe. And also, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please type it in the comment section below. Now, I'm not really like Depop support, so I can't help with, you know, specific Depop logistics of the apps and things like that. But if you have any general questions, I'll do my best to answer them. And if any of you fellow sellers see a comment of someone who's gone through you've gone through like a similar situation and you want to help a person out, then let's get a cute little community growing and just help each other out, because sharing is caring and information is power. Something like that. I just made that up right now. Okay, see you all soon. Bye.